everybody. It's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and you are in Quest 4, which is all about tracing and transferring images onto the canvas. Probably the one of the most liberating skills that you can have as artists. I want to start this out right away by saying hi to everybody who's coming to the studio live today. And if you're here on the replay, hang in because I'm going to free you. I'm going to change your world and what you think about art. And I'm going to start it with something I've said a little bit before, but I'm going to state it really strongly now. Being able to draw, the ability to draw or render, has nothing to do with being an artist.
Mm-hmm.
It is a skill set that you develop over time with hard work. And even if you can draw quite well, there are times when you need to be able to transfer and trace images onto canvases, walls, or different surfaces. So this is a time-honored skill, John.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would like you to think back to great things like the Parthenon. Remember the Parthenon?
Uh-huh.
So those works were done actually with many of the techniques that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Over multi-generations, they were collaborative works. Mm-hmm. They weren't quick works. They weren't immediate works. They were works that took time, consideration, and process. How do you take a little sculpture that a master sculptor did and turn it into something 30 feet high? This type of activity. And so I'm just following in a time-honored tradition. The greatest artists on the planet use these. So it's perfectly acceptable to trace. So let's just let that go right now, right? And I know we grow up with it, don't we? Because people ask you, did you freehand it or did you copy?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, copying is when you take somebody else's image and say it's your own.
Right.
That's copying. So yeah, there's freehanding something, and then there's transferring something. And so it's like when somebody asks you if your hair color is real. I say you just put the little hand up to that question. It doesn't have anything to do with the finished project. A lot of artists hide their process from the public because of that attitude. So I'm wondering how many people here today have really kind of felt like, well, I can't draw, so therefore I can't be creative.
Yeah, I felt like that a lot. Like drawing was just the barrier for me to get started on stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of us feel. Now, I can draw. And that's something that, John's been with me forever. For a long time, he's put up with me. And you've seen me go to life drawing classes and draw hands and go through my Holgar stage and figure drawing. That's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you really, really want to be able to draw, I have a recommendation for you. Or if you have somebody in your life who really, really wants to be able to draw, you go out and you're going to get drawing on the right side of the brain.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, there just is no other program like it, and it really, really removes the myth that drawing is a mystical genetic talent. Think about this, just for 2 seconds. This is going to be a little bit more of this, but I really want you to get in the headspace with me because I'm going to change it all for you today.
Okay.
Less than 1% of the population is just magically capable of doing music.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But obviously more than 1% of the population enjoys music.
Yes.
Right? Less than 1% of the population is able to just be born with mathematical formulas in their head, the type of savant genius that we all admire.
Right.
But obviously more people than that are doing math.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because we have roads and freeways and buildings, and people know how to blow up a building and demolition it, and there's all kinds of skills. Clearly math exists outside of the savant. So there isn't an attitude that only the savant element of art exists. And the rest of it that's just determination, perseverance, and a lot of hard work is somehow not as valid. And that is the disruption of talent. Right? Talent is lovely, and I love people who are born with it. They're born with a savant. That kid that can see a city and draw it from memory.
Right.
That's like one kid, though.
Mm-hmm.
One kid. So we can't make that the whole world or the whole reason why we get into art or not. We're going to cover today the tools that we use to get images onto canvases, how we can make something that's small bigger.
Yep.
Right? How we can make something that's big smaller. And I'm, of course, going to show it to you in the simple, direct, heart party way that makes it inexpensive and easy and something anyone can do.
Yes. We have a whole bunch of people out here with us
Who's
today.
here today?
Oh my
I'm
God.
going to have a sippy. I've got some Kahlua coffee. I've been on a Kahlua kick lately.
Ooh. It's like
It's not actual Kahlua. It's Kahlua flavored coffee.
Kahlua flavored coffee. Well, although you could, if you wanted to, put some glue in there.
Would be really good. I wish I thought of it. I realized it's afternoon.
But yeah, no, I mean, we got like 200 people out here. It was over 200, like 215 people who were out here with us today. And I see all of our moderators are out here, are helping out. Bonnie, Kim's. I saw Mona out here. I said Melody Lane just came through. I think I saw.
Hi, Melody.
Craft
Hi,
Mama.
Mona.
It came by and visited
Really?
us. Yeah.
Hey.
So we got a whole bunch of people out here visiting with us. So it's really nice. The chat channel's very active.
Melody's going to like this. It's going to appeal to Melody's brain. She probably will even come back with like tips on how I do some of this stuff. Listen, I also want to give a shout out to, we have a special shout out to Danielle and her family. Congratulations. And you guys saw the brushes, the Secret Life of brushes at the beginning of the video. Keep those coming. John and I are loving those so much. Yes. The stories, the brush stories. And I love that you guys are out there just pulling sizing out of brushes and being disruptive. They're going to have to pay attention to us now, I guess. Yeah. And I want to really thank Shelly Barnhart. I loved your story. John loved your story. He was kind of feeling under the weather, and it really put a smile on her face. Yeah. And the video from Summer Weber, that's on the Heart Party page.
Oh, yeah.
And unrelated news, go by the Heart Party page to look for Saturday's upcoming event because it's a viewer-directed live on abstract, which means artwork that doesn't look like anything, non-representational artwork. Though, and if you guys like put something up like I want to paint trees, I put that in the brain bank.
Right.
And I keep it for later because if I see a lot of it, I'm like, oh, we better do that. All right, you ready to get to it with our 215 people?
Yeah, it keeps growing. We got more now.
All right, so in transferring images onto art, the first one that I want you to think about is something called projection.
Oh, yeah.
Projection. Right, light boxes and projection. Those are fantastic tools. And if you are a professional artist, you're going to have a projector in your toolkit. Boris Vallejo had a projector.
Yes.
Right? A projector allows you to take an image and put it on a larger canvas or even put it on a wall. And if you're a muralist, it's essential. It saves you hundreds of hours in labor, in time. However, it's also hundreds of dollars. So if you're not professional and you're not doing a mural in your house of something that you painted, it's not really a practical tool. Right? Light boxes is a similar thing. This is a table that has a light underneath it. You'll see a lot of architects use them and a lot of commercial artists, and it allows us to shine a light through paper and then on tracing so we can make an easier trace. Now, there is a wonderful way where you can actually use your window as a free light box. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, John. Don't let me forget that one because I can't demo it here because we have all the windows blocked so we can film. But I can explain it to you. Then the next way that you can get an image on to your canvas, obviously freehanding, is gridding. Gridding. So you would buy, say, paper like this. I don't know if it's going to... there's a grid. Right? And you would draw your picture on here, right? But you want to make it really big. Maybe you're really good at drawing small, but sometimes it's harder to draw really, really big. I can decide that these grid squares, right, they're 1 inch here, but maybe they represent 1 foot on the wall. I grid the wall 1 foot by 1 foot. I have 1 inch by 1 inch here, and then I simply draw whatever I see in the space. I don't draw the entire image. And this is really fantastic if you're muraling. I've done this a lot if you're transferring images to larger space, but it's massively time consuming, right? And doesn't really relate to anything we're doing on Heart Party at all, or probably anything you're doing in your life. Okay? So the next thing that we're going to talk about is carbon paper. I purchased this at Michael's. This was the only one I could even find. This transfer paper was $8. I'm going to demo it, but you can kind of make this yourself. If you guys have asked me about how to transfer an image onto canvas, I've sent you over to the Frugal Crafters channel going, she has a DIY transfer paper video. I'm going to show you how to do it here, but that you know what I'm talking about if you've seen that. This is the tools of the trade right here. These are graphite pencils and chalks, right? Then there's the printout. There's the traceable, and we make traceables. And I'm going to show you. We have these 2 traceables here, right? Whoop, come here, big traceable. So this is what you have for free on the Pinterest page, don't you guys? So that we've got this guy coming up Friday, right? So if you wanted to paint him, you could get an 8x10 canvas, print him out, draw him on there, and paint that. No problem. How would you do that? Well, you would either make your own DIY transfer paper, or you would use carbon paper. Now, if you're painting on a fresh surface, other than expense, they're a one-to-one solution. In other words, they're equally good outside of money. But here's a little tip, super urgent, so I'm going to tell you early in the video just in case people are clicking out, but you shouldn't click out because it's going to free you from drawing, is that when you use transfer paper, it is very ineffective on an already painted acrylic canvas. In other words, the image just won't get on there. So like, if I were trying to say, I had rendered out something beautiful that I wanted to trace on here to add to this, maybe like a fantastical rocket, and I were to try to use my transfer paper here, even though it would work beautifully on a raw gessoed canvas, it would not work well on an acrylic canvas, and that's because of the nature of the polymer medium and how it impacts. But it will work really great with your DIY transfer paper.
Yes.
So that's the other reason. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is how I did this at home. I didn't go to a large format place. This is a little trick with your computer editing software, and so I can make a traceable that is 16 by 20. In other words, you can do anything that I've ever taught you or many things that you've seen online and size it up to a really big image. Print it out at home and assemble this like a puzzle. Just process that for a little second.
Yeah, no. I know Macs have a lot of that stuff just built right into it.
Yeah, Macs have a lot of this stuff just built right into it, but I'll give you the tips that I'm talking about, firsthand. So let's sit there. Oh, and the last thing is the tracing paper. You guys might see this at the store. They have these like $1, right? And I'm going to talk about how, say you have a photograph, and I've got an example. And we'll start with this one. Say you have a photograph that you would like to paint. But you're like, I can handle the painting part of it. I got my dry brushing. I've got my wet into wet. I kind of know how to layer the paint. But gosh, the drawing part is really challenging for me. Well, here's the deal. You can print out your picture off your computer, right? Yeah. And hopefully the camera will be able to see it through the magic of tracing paper, right?
We over here on the other one?
Yeah, can you see that there? Yeah, so see how you can see her through there? Now a trick that I do, and I wanted to show you, is I outline my outer edges, my contours, with a black pen.
Yeah.
Right? And that really lets me see it through the tracing paper. Now, if I was still having trouble seeing it, I could tape this to a window, both layers to a window, and it would create a free light table. That's all it takes to create a free light table.
Oh, I have a piece of glass back here too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it backlit?
No.
Then it's less demonstrative.
Well, no, but I mean, you could hold it up and see. How
Yeah, you can see that. What it is the light shines through, and it will kind of wash out the image where you haven't done the black outline. Makes it even easier. Okay. Well, I don't know how we... Well, again, I don't think it's going to... Well, we'll see. You work it out, stunt hands. No, it's got to... Oh, there it is. There, see? We're going to see if we can't demo it. But you can see it because we have so many studio lights. So see how that pops through? So if you just tape this kit all up to your window, you're going to be set up. Now, when I am tracing on here, something I want to do, I want to tuck it in underneath, pull this down. I want to make sure that I'm not lifting, moving, or shifting this often, or it will ruin my trace.
Okay.
Now, I can also just directly make the DIY transfer paper. You can kind of see what I would get here if I was like just to do the straight. I can make the DIY transfer paper. So that's like all it takes is I just put it under here, tuck it in, and just go over the lines. Look at that. Isn't that nice? That I've made previously. And this can really help me if rendering. See how easy that is? is not my skill. It just takes no time. Then I can make multiples of this. I can make portraits of my family super easily. Right? Because I just need to know where things kind of basically are in relationship to each other, don't I? Just simple. Eyes can be such a challenge for us, but not here. They're going to be so much easier. Just trace those in. You know, so you just do that. I'm kind of being messy tracing it, but that's all you would do. And then you can take this out and you've got an image that you can easily read, understand, and transfer with either carbon paper or with DIY transfer paper. Because again, drawing is just a skill. You have to do this stuff in art anyways. There are times that you just have to use these methods. There isn't a pro artist that doesn't have to utilize these methods. I cannot tell you how many artists I know that are beautiful, beautiful draftsmen. They draw so well. They still utilize these methods because they're time saving. They allow you to maybe replicate things. They're really useful. So there's no shame in it at all. Tracing is honorable.
Yeah.
Tracing, it's a crazy thing. Tracing is honorable. Now I'm going to show you how to use the carbon paper. All right, I'm going to pull out my just drawing paper to demo this. Right? And I'm going to use my carbon paper. Now, one of the things that is challenging when transferring an image is that it moves.
Oh, yeah.
Did I have the brains to bring my yellow tape over here?
I can go look for it.
No, I've got some right here. I've got some tape right here. Yes, I did. Kind of over here. So one of the tricks that I want to do is I put the object where I want it to be on my paper, and I'm going to tape this down. When I tape it in place, it prevents my lines shifting on me. So I can just leave this right here and not... I hope this is really fun. Anybody having any questions about any of this so far?
Oh, everyone's in here chatting away. And I was actually going to say there's some really... everyone's talking about projectors and different
projectors
things
are great.
like that. Yeah. But one of the things that I caught earlier is that Craft Mama said that her daughter, Devaney, also watches your show.
Hi, Devaney.
And she doesn't speak English.
Oh, okay.
She's from Holland.
Hi.
But she's on her third painting now.
Fantastic!
Isn't
Wow,
that crazy?
you're brave too, because I've lived out of the country and it can be more challenging.
Yeah, I think that's just great that there's.
We'll have to see. I think this.
A little brush out there.
A little brush out there. I gotta check her product here. Transfer paper. All right, she seems to think it's transfer paper. Usually this is like a black or a gray on the background.
Oh yeah.
You can use this over and over again. So I think sometimes that's why they feel like they can charge you this amount of money for a sheet of it. Got my hot mess going here. Now, other tip, when you get this tucked under here, and it is unwielded, you can cut these to size if you want to. If you know you're going to be doing a lot of images the same size, quilters are like, oh, I got this. Right now, quilters are like, oh no, I totally understand all of this. So see, this is in position. The transfer paper is underneath me. Now, all I've got to do then is decide what lines, are important to me for my finished painting. Right? What lines do I need to have so I can get this painting in? Right? Now, another tip I have is sometimes it can be challenging to know what you've traced on your piece. And there's two ways to deal with that. The first way, being kind of crazy here, but I'm just demoing what the product does, is to lift and check. Do you guys see it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can lift and check. If you're worried about shift, because this is the one time when you could get shift, where the image can shift on you and then you have like this sort of ghost image, it's better to just do it twice. What's here?
I think there's a delivery.
Delivery. We love getting mail. My kids are like, the mail's here. You think it's like coming with candy and stuffed teddy bears and things like that. So I can just sit there and I can come in and follow these lines. Yes, this works on raw canvas really, really well, but many of these transfer papers do not work well over an acrylic.
There we
What?
go. That was
Many of these transfer papers don't work well over an acrylic painting. So this works, but it can be a problem if you, say, have an acrylic colored ground on your canvas, you know, or something else. Now, hopefully some of you are like, wow, I'm like really close to doing this one painting, but just the difficulty of this one image was just stopping me, and you're starting to think to yourself, maybe I could possibly take that on. Oopsie. And it doesn't matter, like I've got a couple lines where I get a little messy on the trace. Say I trace this whole thing, I pull the tracing paper out. You can kind of see the lines. I don't know if the camera can pick it up where it's, maybe it'll see it on this side.
It's kind of hard to...
Huh?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah. Well, what it does is you can, there it is. Can you kind of see the ghost of where the dog's drawn out?
Kind of.
All right. So it will, that part of the tracing paper is gone. And so these are good for a particular number of uses. You'll get kind of familiar with the brand's longevity. And what's great is, like, say you work really hard on a drawing, you know, on one scratch piece of paper, and you're like, man, this really needs to be a painting. This works for watercolor and acrylic canvas, and you get these lines. So that's how easy it is to, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Or do I can hold it up here too. Ah, there it is.
Yep.
See, that's how easy that is to do. Now I'm going to be very wasteful here for just a second. And I'm going to use the same piece here. I'm going to flip this over. But here's the DIY method. The first DIY method is your pencil that you have at home. I'm going to, with my graphite pencil, just back and forth, color the whole back. And I mean anywhere I think there might be drawing, the whole back of my transfer. Right? So number 2 pencil, just fine. Number 2 pencil, just fine. But, right, softer the lead, the easier this is, the deeper the graphite. You can do this with watercolor pencils, by the way. Pondering that if you needed, say, a coloring paint. But I've got some charcoal here. This is Simply Charcoal Soft. This Simply brand is a very good brand. This set, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. These are not sponsors. I just found this. I thought this was a cool set for drawing, which has white chalk, light gray chalk, dark gray chalk, soft, medium, and hard chalk, pencils in different grades, and graphites in different grades, 2 types of erasers, blenders, and a sharpener, $4. And I'm like, dude, that's a deal. So I've got this side that I'm going to just very quickly, oh, look at this. This is even easier. Can you see that go on?
Yeah.
And you can actually see where I traced because the paper is indented and we're getting a rubbing.
Huh.
We're getting a rubbing. And I'm going to just tape this back down because, again, shift is still our number 1 problem. I'm going to trace both sides, and then we're going to see how that looks. Is everything okay?
Yeah, they were saying it's a little dark, so I was going to see.
Oh.
I keep pushing the wrong button here. I was going to see if I could turn
The color up?
Yeah, just get, oh, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That brightened it up. Oh, you guys are so helpful to our production. You're amazing. I cannot tell you how amazing you are as a community. Just your participation, your color grids, your amazing abstract hearts are incredible. You guys are getting it. You're going to love Saturday's abstract lesson. I hope you'll come and put input in. I hope you'll go by the YouTube channel. I mean, the Facebook page and make suggestions of colors or paintings or things that you've seen. Or vote on one you like. There's one that everyone's really liking. You know? So I'm just tracing this. Just tracing it. Transferring. You know. And again, it is nobody's business, right? Whether your hair color is real. I mean, obviously on mine, I augment. But it's still rude. People don't need to be asking the process by which you create your art. Right? yes, if you're a fine artist and you have a collector, it is important for them to know how your process is. But just in general, as a hobbyist, it's like asking to see someone's bank statement. It's just rude. Now, I have a tendency to not keep a light enough hand where I'm resting my hand on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So that can leave a little smear mark. The nice thing about the graphite pencil over the charcoal is that it's erasable.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But then the charcoal sort of disappears into the paints. They each have their benefits of what they're good at doing and how they transfer. The charcoal transfers very well onto canvas. So if you're transferring onto a canvas that has been painted with an acrylic ground or is already painted, like you've painted in this thing, but now you're going to add an element, this becomes really important in designing art sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful to be able to have the charcoal, and then to have white and black allows you to create an image that you can see against any background.
Right.
This is also really good for watercolor.
Now,
So you can kind of see, I've got the eye over here with the graphite, and I've got this over on the charcoal. It's a little messier over here, but you can erase it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see where I kind of did a smear here with the charcoal. Can you guys see that? Yeah, no, you can't. So I'm going to hold this up here. These images are light and are not going to impact your watercolor or...
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not going to impact your watercolor or your painting.
Neat.
At all.
So we had a quick question here. Michelle was asking about transfer paper
Yes.
and saying it doesn't show up. Now, the question is, it doesn't show up on acrylic paint, but carbon
The graphite.
with tracing paper or carbon does.
The graphite will show up.
Okay, so tracing paper does work on.
Okay, so the one where we DIY'd it will paint over the acrylic painting. The transfer paper, like 80% of the time, just won't.
So you have to experiment a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it gives everybody grief. And honestly, sometimes it will work for a while in one brand, and then they change their formula, and it doesn't. It's because of the plastic nature of the acrylic paint and the way it's sealed. Now, you could put a clear gesso on there, and that would give you enough grit to get a tooth to get a transfer on there, but then you put clear gesso, and you have to want that tooth there. Right? Fabulous for multimedia artists or art journalers. Got to have the clear gesso. We're going to cover that in the future. So that's why I was like, there's this arsenal of tools, drawing being one of them. You can go do drawing on the right side of the brain, and you're going to be able to draw. But there's just this arsenal of tools, and it's how you put those tools together that composes a painting. Now, I'd like to show you how I made this big image.
Now, before we do that, Melody.
I would love to answer. I'm going to drink some more coffee. Sippy, sippy.
Take a quick sippy. Because Melody Lane wanted to come in here and
Melody.
she came in and wanted me to pass along a message to you. She wanted to say thank you. The Crafty Chica is going to be on Crafty Life Live, and she wanted to thank you so much for introducing her, because that's been great.
Well, I don't know if you noticed this, Melody, but this is Crafty Chica's mug.
So we'll be tuning
that
in.
I got at Michael's.
Yeah.
I was so freaked out. I was like, I YouTube know her. I YouTube know her totally. I buy her mug.
Solidarity.
Yeah, I'm going to go in her Etsy store and get a butter keeper or something. Mm-hmm. She's a really amazing step. I'm so excited to see her on Crafty Life Live.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be awesome. Girl gets glitter. She gets it.
Yes.
Gets it. She glittered a floor. I'm fan afterwards. I'm like, she glittered a whole floor. I love you forever.
Yeah, we may do that in Honey's room.
Yeah, we actually are probably going to do her idea in Honey's room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so back to your thing. I just wanted to I thought that was awesome.
I think that's pretty awesome too. So hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to turn this around. Can you guys see the way that this is taped together? These are 8x10 sheets of paper.
Yeah.
So what I do is I take the image that I have, right, digitally. You would let's say you grab it off of our Pinterest page. And I take it into my photo editor, right? And in there you have the ability to select change an image size. You guys all know that, change an image size. Mm-hmm. I make sure it's on inches, and I make it the size of the canvas that I'm going to be printing on, right? So
Yeah.
in our cases, I make the image 16 by 20.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the trick. I then apply a grid and a ruler. All you really need is the ruler. Grid is helpful if it does a snap to grid feature,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's as helpful. But as long as you have the ruler, and then I do selections that are 8 by 10. So I
Okay.
select this area 8 by 10, this area 8 by 10, this area 8 by 10, and this area 8 by 10. And that's really easy to do once my rulers are there, because I can just line up the little selection thing that says 8 here, 10 here. Good, got it. Snap. When I print them out, I trim them with scissors because there's always a little extra overlay, and I put this together like a puzzle and tape it up with just clear packing tape, regular tape, doesn't matter the tape. I can then come back here, rub my charcoal all over the sucker, and I have DIY transfer 16 by 20, large format, without a large format printer.
Ah, really cool.
That's all that takes. That's all you've got to do. And it really is just a simple puzzle to put together. And you'll notice where you have the extra, just trim it off. Just line it up, tape a segment, line it up, tape a segment. You guys can totally do that. Now you can go to Kinko's and they'll print out 16 by 20s for you. For, I think it's $1, so it's not expensive. But you have to go to Kinko's.
Now,
And your time is worth something.
now can you paint over the gray gesso, the gray transfer paper stuff if it's on a gessoed canvas?
Yeah. It
Okay.
goes right away.
Just disappears right underneath it?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is a good product. It's made by Martha. They have it at Michael's. I figured, all I could find was Martha,
Yeah.
right? Had it. They usually in a drafting section, usually in an architectural drafting section, like on our tour of Texas Art
Yeah,
Supply.
They have it at Texas.
They have it at
They-
Texas Art Supply.
They do have it at Texas Art Supply.
Like 30 brands of this stuff in colors. It's in non-photography reproduction blue.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if I'm doing an ad layout, I get this stuff, the non-photo, and my computer can't see it. I can trace this big hot mess on there, paint in what I want, and it looks like I have a clean image. I love advertising art.
Now, Sydney was saying that she thought that graphite or pencil would show through or stain paints.
So because the lightness, so if you think about if you're doing a watercolor and you very lightly, right, sketch in an image, you're not really going to see that. The eye isn't going to pick that up. And the transfer is generally very, very light. The charcoal will blend into the paint. It can stain it. If you use if like I grab this hunk of charcoal and I sketch a thing in black charcoal, that's going to pick up in my acrylic paint, especially in my oil paint. But if I was to do it very, very lightly, you're not really going to see that. And you got to remember that pencils, right, they come in colors, as does chalk.
Oh, yeah.
So the trick really is I can make a rubbing on the back of this in about 2 seconds. If you have an architectural element in your city that you like, right, you just come with a piece of paper, tape it on there, rub your charcoal on it, you have a transfer. It's called a rubbing.
Mm-hmm.
Take that home, add that to your graphic. It's just, this is a skill that there's just no end to.
Yeah.
I just see artists using this, like they'll go get rubbings of trees and come back and like put that into some image somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It goes on and on. You can montage photographs together and then get a rubbing and then make a transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you use this in combination with Photoshop, you can pretty much paint anything.
Now, couldn't you use just chalk? Any chalk?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. 'Cause, Stephanie was just asking about that. So.
Yeah, some of it's going to show up better, and that's where experimentation comes into play. As artists, you have to be kind of wild experimenters, because sometimes you'll run across a deal on something, and you're like, well, this chalk is a really good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Would it work? You got to try it, because sometimes, as you might have noticed with the brush companies, it's a brush by brush kind of event, and all art supplies.
Yeah.
It's an art supply by art supply event. I was watching Lockery, who's very into drawing, the other day, talk about the quality of pencils.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about the stone that you get in cheap drawing pencils. And there's this weird little hard chunk that you get in there and it messes up your drawing, but on a really beautiful pencil, it doesn't do that. Can I do an amazing job with a $2 pencil? Yes, I can. Right? I can do a great job. I might work a little harder to get the effects or the results. And it might be a little harder to get the price point if I were to try to sell the paint. Right? That's when how I make it really comes into play. If I use really fine materials and I use really wonderful practices to create the artwork, I get to charge a little more once I have a collector base. There's a whole formula for this. None of this matters till you have a collector base. When you can't get any of your families to show up to a show, none of it matters. You're just trying to move work and build a collector base.
Yep. So Danielle had a question about water. So I'm just a little stumbling because there's a whole bunch of
about water
questions. Yeah.
On tracing. Okay.
Well, she has hard water in her area, and she was curious of whether or not she needed to be using bottled water with her painting. I'm sorry, it's a weird tracing question. But.
You know, here's the deal. I promise you, if you wrote golden, they'd write you back and say, yes, distilled water, because it's more archival. You can't trust what's in the hard water. Would hard water impact your flow of your paint? Of course. All the agent that you use to thin your paint affects you. I painted in places that had incredibly hard water, and I mean like the orange stain down the tub in the toilet, and it was like all crazy, and the water was not that impactful. But yeah, of course. You know. It depends on what the finished product is for, and you can be as focused and observant of the quality of your art as you choose to be. The enjoyment level is the same. So if I'm like fly by the hip, $2 pencil, $2 watercolors, whatever pad I've got, I'm going to sketch and paint, I'm going to have the same enjoyment as somebody who's painting core watercolors on Arches block that's 300-pound cold pressed paper. Same enjoyment. We're just observing different art practices, and there really is, other than in the resale market, there's no difference, because it's really the experience that we're having as creators in that process that matters. The end painting, let's just all be honest for a second, except the part where you guys judge yourselves about the validity of the result. The process of the painting, right? That's the part that matters. That's the part that gives us joy. That's the part that lowers our blood pressure. That's the part that improves our health and our well-being and lets us forget the world, right? The end result is this sort of after effect that you have. And then sometimes our experience leading up to that is about how we validate that end result, right? But when you guys need to be much more kind of forgiving and open about when something is valid as an art piece, and maybe like, you know, more observant about the experience that you have creating the piece. Right. Because, I mean, in the art world, I say it all the time, poop in a can, $250,000. And there's a good reason for it. But it is, at the end of the day, poop in a can for $250,000. Yep. There's all kinds of people painting with body parts. And I mean body parts. And not like ineffectively painting with body parts. There's Picasso. Picasso is the perfect example of why we need to relax. I don't know if y'all know this, but Picasso was a master of realism. My daughter's singing. She's having a song. She likes the song. She's a song in her heart, and she has to let it out. We're always telling her, stop your song. She's like a little songbird. And not slightly off-key songbird, but a songbird. So Picasso was a fantastic realist. He trained. He apprenticed. He was skilled, right? And he came to this place where, as an artist, he's like, yeah, I can show you this table as I see it and feel it in the world. I can show you its legs, and I can show you its depth, and I can demonstrate this dead pigeon on here, and I can demonstrate the texture of the feathers, and you can feel as if that is all there. He's like, but if I abstract the moment, the time, the space, the things happening around the pigeon, the way the light is going across the table, if I abstract as an artist and take the realism out of it and start breaking these things up spatially, I can tell you so much more about the table, right? But he didn't do that because he couldn't draw an eye where an eye goes. That was a decision that he made as an informed, educated creator about how he wants to tell a story. And that's just really all we're doing. We're just telling stories, and sometimes our stories matter to large amounts of people, right, around the world, and we call that fine art. And sometimes our stories matter to us and our friends. Story's still there, right? We're still telling it.
Yeah.
So we just kind of need to relax about this and go, this is just my process. You almost need to be selfish. You need to be, this is my process. I just really like how the paint does this, and that makes me really happy. And I like to make color charts because it's just enjoyable, and I want to know what my paint does. It just is your time and your space. And how many things do you have in life that are like that? Honestly, I'm soapbox today. I'm sorry.
No.
Woo!
There you go. Everyone's really enjoying everything you're saying. So there's lots of...
I appreciate that. There was a lot of art school debate that has led up to these opinions. As you stand, across from somebody who has a very different art experience, and they validate very different art things. People are going to validate different stuff than you do in art. You're going to have to just allow they're crazy.
Yeah.
Now, we are not going to cover it today, but we'll refer back to this when we do. We're going to talk about things like copyright and stuff later.
Yep.
When you guys are going out and transferring images and finding photographs you like. So fairly shortly after this, in the next couple of quests, we're going to cover copyright and when it's okay to copy and when it isn't and what that's really about. And we're going to make it not scary.
Yeah.
And super understandable and super fun. So you're going to be like, yeah, I got this. I'm not even stressed about it. I know my, fair use. I know my originality. I know when those boundaries are. I'm going to even tell you a couple funny stories. So, but for the purposes of now that I've taught you guys how to literally transfer an image, basically the first thing you need to know, we're going to talk about it much more in depthly. If you're not selling it and you're not putting it out online and representing it as your own, for personal use, you can do anything you like. For personal use.
Yeah.
Right? So any piece that you're in love with, not to out my mom, but we're huge fans of Lawson, but we don't have $100,000. If you want it in your home and it's just going to be in your home and, it's just for you, that's okay. Don't go online with it, though. Don't do that, but just for you. So go ahead and transfer and copy. I've got quests down in the description.
Zippy Cat said something really, really that caught my attention here. She said, wow, that she really needed to hear what you were just saying because it's her process. It's my process, right? So however you come to this, remember that it's your process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's personal. This is just a place to not let people butt in. And they will. And there's a really big difference between having a peer and you're having a wonderful art conversation about what it has validity and what works for you, and it's very respectful and very affirming to somebody coming by and going, oh, that's just not even art. Really? Yeah. Really, who made you the art police? Because if you're not running the Smithsonian, you're not even in the running.
Right.
And the lady who just juried me, right, if you check my page, she's in the running. Nicest person ever.
Oh, yeah.
People, the more educated they get in art, the more they love artists, the more that they love the process. It's that middle range that's going to come up and tell you that isn't art. Right? Well, again, not running a museum. You can just let everybody else alone. It's what it is for you. It's how it works for you. Is it making you feel better? And if something is making you feel better, you should do more of it. That's why I'm always asking you guys, don't go into the painting and find the 3 things you hate. Everybody already knows what they did wrong. You don't need that work. You need the work of finding the 3 things you did really well.
Yeah.
What did you do right? Because you want to do more of that. That's actually how an artist grows. Not obsessing over where things have gone wrong. Artists grow by, wow, I really nailed that space. That passage is amazing. That stanza is incredible. I loved how this medium and this gel worked together. And I think I could replicate that in a predictable way again and again and again. That's how you build a body of work, not being like, I hate how I do eyes.
Now, flame
this won't help you.
Flame Gremlin was asking
Hi, Flame.
She said, "Could you please go over the side quest again?"
Can you pull that up on the description? I gotta remember how I wrote it.
The side. Okay, let me go over.
It's in the description. John's gonna help
I'll go
refresh me. It's been a week. The Sherpa has been going bananas lately.
Okay.
I've just been like crazy.
So the mini quest says, optional, trace a picture of your face and add an inspirational quote that speaks to you. Add color, ink, or pen.
So, and post these if you like, right? But this is part of the artist process. Part of the artist process is in private or publicly doing self-portraits because, and this is really fascinating, there is a fabulous argument that all art is self-portrait. Is just the artist talking about themselves, which I think is kind of true. I kind of see myself in pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a fabulous thing. Most people really are uncomfortable with doing self-portraits and they get really blocked. And it's one of the first wonderful things that you can unblock. And a great way to do that is take a picture of yourself that you like, trace it on a paper, and turn it into an art thing and put a beautiful quote with it. And when you see that, and you see that of yourself, it's better than a pair of skinny jeans.
Cool.
And skinny jeans are, this is wonderful. You say just something beautiful, she turned her dreams into plans and her cans into cans and a beautiful picture of yourself, and you can color that in. You can just do pen and ink. You can show that to our community on Instagram or Heart, the Heart Party page, or, in Angelini or wherever you want to share that. Email it to me. Or you can keep it private. You can keep that for yourself. It is actually really acceptable to keep that for yourself. I think art journalers are geniuses on this.
Yeah.
They keep those books of art to themselves. Private. Some art belongs to you only.
That's true.
Doesn't belong to the world. I've had pieces that I've sold. I really regretted it.
Yeah.
Some of them I'm throwing them out the door and saying, go live somewhere else. But some of them I'm like, man, I wish I hadn't let that piece go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you recognize that you've done something that speaks personally to you and is maybe a little raw and revealing, don't necessarily put that out to the world. It's okay to keep a secret. And then it's also just as okay to be like, I'm so proud of this. Check me shining. That's okay too. It's okay to shine.
Yeah.
Okay to shine.
Yep.
And don't let anyone take your shine.
No.
They got their own light. They can go shine their own light. They on their own. They don't need to take your light bulb. Have you met people like that? They're trying to hoard everybody else's light bulb and not turning on their own light. You're like, just turn on your own light.
Yeah.
One right there. I've got this one. I'm going to keep it on.
Yeah.
The fact that you chose to turn your off didn't mean I'm trying to dim you. I'm just, if I could flip your light switch, I would, but you got to flip it.
Oh.
It's a weird tangent relative to this week.
Oh, and Kim K is back
Hi,
here.
Kim K.
She's from the cruise.
Well, she's Kim S now.
Oh.
Kim S.
Kim S.
How you doing, Mrs.
All back from the cruise.
We've had a lot of Heart Party wedding. We had a proposal.
Oh, that's right. We had that wonderful proposal that happened when a couple was painting at home together. And when they got to the end of the sunset, he wrote, "Would you marry me?" on the sunset.
This made me cry.
Yeah, that was great. I just love that.
This is really good. He's a proposal. He loves proposals. He did a good proposal for me. And we love proposals. And we're so excited that Kim S., everybody congratulate Mrs., is doing really well. And thank you for everything you've done. We so appreciate it. Love the heart mail.
Yeah,
the new heart mail is totally working.
Yeah, we have some heart mail back here, and please do post up the pictures of your side quests, your mini quests.
We love them.
Yeah, because we're getting so many of them that I might not be able to get all of them in the beginning, but I'm gonna make a new segment so that at the end I can play them all and leave them up for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and if ever I miss anything, it is never that I'm ignoring you. If you ask me a question, I don't respond. It's just. I don't know if you guys know this, but Facebook does not show me everything.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. It's really selective. You put it out in the world and you think it's there, but it's not really there. It's like pretend there. And even on the messages, sometimes it won't, update me. It's really crazy. So I'm never ignoring you. It doesn't bother me if you re-ask. And I try to make sure that I get in there every day and do something. and I try to read as much as I can, and we love it. And I'll be sitting at my computer, and I'll read it to John, and he'll laugh or he'll cry. The stories mean a lot, and we just so appreciate you as a community. I'm in the YouTube mentoring program, which is pretty cool. YouTube
awesome.
provides free mentoring when they're like, you're going to grow and you need some help. And so I've been mentoring, and I have been listening to the gamers talk, confirming I have the best community.
We do have the best community.
Art, the whole art DIY segment, you guys are the best.
Yes.
The best. You make being live on YouTube a joy. Love it. Do it as long as you guys. And thank you for your quest suggestions. We have almost 2 years of quests.
Yeah.
Don't stop. If you guys keep coming, I will keep sharing this information with you. Let me know if information was helpful. Let me know if you need more on something. This is your space. This is your journey. We're trying to guide, facilitate, help you through it. So I'm open to it. I'm here to hear it. I hope you guys are gonna, now that you know how to transfer Mr. Puggles. And here's a little tip on tracing. Try to just get the outside contours. Chuck loves to catch my highlights and lowlights very much, and it can be useful information. And if you want it, it's there. And it also makes a really cute coloring page that's free. But also, you can just do the outside basic shape.
Yeah.
So this way you're with me for the abstract pug. And then I hope Saturday, I haven't done a live viewer directed in a while.
No, not
Yeah, not going to pre-plan. We have some colors that are being voted on. All that's on the Facebook page. That post is pinned to the top. Still working on the website.
Yep. And
trying to get better at it.
Yeah, and keep sending in your suggestions for the quests, like she said, because that's really great stuff for us to use when we're putting the missions and badges together in the app.
You never know. Maybe I'm working on a coloring book. Chuck's working on a coloring book too.
Yeah, Chuck has so we have two
Sherpa life.
That's right. We have 2 Sherpa coloring books.
His is totally different. It's super fun. I'm way excited about it. If you're in Angelina, you kind of see the direction that's going. And if you're following me on Periscope or Instagram, you're seeing updates on the coloring book. I'm working on that. That's definitely coming out. Every suggestion you guys have made is genius.
Yep, and we're gonna have
Thank you.
Yeah, and we have quest shirts and aprons and things coming.
The question.
Yep. So soon we'll have some of that stuff ready. And it'll all be up on the website to be seen soon. We're working on it.
Super fun stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just can't say that enough. The gratitude I have is just astounding.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. We're going to see you at the easel tomorrow, which is really soon. Or on an iCard.
Are we?
Well, yeah, because tomorrow we have a class. Because you got snowed in.
I got snowed in. That's
He got snowed in.
So it was
so
in
the
DC.
schedule is all crazy. I had to move collabs. I had to be stuff and for you Alice in Wonderland fans, pay attention to the YouTube channel on the 5th.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and real quick, tune into the May show with on February 1st. Melody Lane. So go check out Melody Lane, Crafting Chica on February 1st.
That's that Crafty Life Live.
Crafty
They
Life
have
Live.
a group on Facebook. You can find them really easily. Okay, I know we got to go, but I just had to tell this to you because you guys are here. You're hardcore. You're about the art. You're probably following Lindsay. Has anyone noticed that Lindsay is on the creators as an expert?
She is an expert.
She is. So she's coming up on her special too. I'm
pretty
pretty
cool.
excited. I'm like watching it. I'm like,
We have so many YouTube friends now. I love it.
I know it makes life really fun. YouTubers are so awesome.
All right, guys.
You guys are awesome. See you
Love
at the
you
easel
guys.
really soon. Bye-bye.